back to the Now Morning Show. It's time for Your Body and You. And today we are talking about something that many of us have experience with, talking about no dementia, no Alzheimer's. Ladies, good morning and welcome to the show. Trinidad and Tobago, we have with us this morning Miss Michele Saunders Clavery, President of the Alzheimer's Association.
Good morning. Good morning.
And we also have with us this morning Miss Tarradath, who, I just have to say, celebrated a birthday yesterday. So Kimberly and Raucus, you know what we need to do. And also, of course, is a part of the Now Morning Show family.
Yes.
So it's wonderful to have both of you with us on the show this morning.
Good to be here, really good,
to be here.
It is, and such an important conversation as well. Because I feel like we talk about this all the time as friends, as family members. We've all been through something with these two illnesses. So it's time to have the conversation.
Yeah. Time to have the conversation and to sustain the conversation, because as I was saying to Carol a short while ago, we don't want to just wait until it's World Alzheimer's Month, for example. So what we do as an association, the Alzheimer's Association of Trinidad and Tobago, we are engaged in education programs, mainly. We do a lot of fundraising because we are a non-profit organization, but our aim is to educate, because where Alzheimer's disease is concerned and other dementias, knowledge really is power.
It really is.
And as I say to the other board members and to membership, where cancer used to be, Alzheimer's is now. And so we want to reduce the stigma. We want to bring it to the fore. We want to keep it to the fore, because Alzheimer's disease is not an illness. People are living with the disease. It's memory loss. It's not being able to do things as you would normally do and so on. But people are living with the disease. So we no longer say that people are suffering with Alzheimer's. They're not suffering. They're living with the disease. The caregivers might be experiencing, the issues and so on. But that's where we are.
That's such a powerful term to use. You're living in dis-ease.
Yes.
Because if it's one thing that you witness when you interact with those who are suffering or living with, rather, you can see the frustration many times. And it's just to find that one moment where you can perhaps bring some joy and just spark maybe one memory. And you see their face light up. It's like, man, it was all worth it. Now, you mentioned World Alzheimer's Month. When is the month?
The month is September, this month. Okay? And World Alzheimer's Day was launched before the month. World Alzheimer's Day was launched at the 10th anniversary of the ADI. ADI is our parent body, Alzheimer's Disease International, out of London, England. And they celebrated their 10th anniversary, and on the 21st of September. So on that day, they decided to make it World Alzheimer's Day. But it wasn't enough just to celebrate a day. Alzheimer's Disease International thought that, listen, we need a month to celebrate. So 18 years after, they decided, yes, we're going to celebrate the World Alzheimer's Month, but just what you said, to celebrate people living with the disease, to celebrate the caregivers, to meet and to share stories and ideas, and basically to have some fun. And we did just that at the launch of the month. We had a sip and paint at Estate 101.
Lovely.
And we had somebody there who is living with the disease, and that lady did the painting. I mean, she had to be helped, but it was so heartening to see her just involved like all of us. The other people who were there, who attended, didn't know that she had the disease. And that's the thing with art and Alzheimer's and music in particular. Yes.
As you mentioned, music is so true. Just, drawing from personal experience with somebody who has dementia and just knowing that there's this perhaps one instrument that can be played and seeing their entire face light up, their demeanor change, and the joy that comes. And it just shows how powerful joy is as well. Now, we do need to talk about caregivers, which is such an important role. But before we get to that, if we can just speak a bit about Alzheimer's and dementia, because I think many times people do get them a bit confused. They're not too sure. So let's go with Alzheimer's. First.
So now we say Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. And just by hearing that, dementia is the umbrella term. Alzheimer's is just one. So think of it literally as an umbrella. And that's dementia. And then the spokes of the umbrella, you have different kinds of dementia. Lewy body disease, for example. Alzheimer's being one. And the focus is much on Alzheimer's simply because it's the most common form of dementia. And so that's the distinction that we make there.
Oh, interesting. You see, you learn something new every single day.
Right.
Now, also, what is the key theme for this month? Because I'm assuming just as we have other months for observing, each year you'll have something different for the theme.
So the theme for this month is no dementia, no Alzheimer's. And it follows from last year's theme, which was also no dementia, K-N-O-W.
Okay.
But in that, you're also hearing N-O. But no dementia, no Alzheimer's. And this year, it's post-diagnosis.
Okay.
The emphasis is on post-diagnosis. Last year, it was on diagnosis. But post-diagnosis, what do you do after you're diagnosed?
Man, that is... Whew, all my paws raised when you said that, because it's something that we all sort of, you learn to navigate. It's brand new territory, not just for those who are living with it, but for those who are with them, taking care of them. And Carol, I see that you actually do have some infographics here for us as well, some warning signs and reducing the risk.
Yes.
Could you share with us a bit about that?
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. So to reduce the risk, what we look for is to be healthy. So you try as much as possible to exercise, eat well, you know, challenge your brain, do have a social life, and you know, just look after yourself and be positive in your and physically active, physically positive. The mind, the mind, the heart, the soul, everything works together. You know, and because when you see these people start to lose this, they're very confused. They're not too sure what is happening. Because I remember with my mom, something is happening to me and I don't know what it is. So we have to listen, and you have to be very compassionate. You have to be very, just be there and be, the thing is now you have to become part of their world. They are no longer in our world as we know it. So the things that we expect them to do, after doing all these years, and then they're not remembering, it is really tough to understand and to, I mean, my mother is for how many years, and all of a sudden she just can't shell peas anymore. But she was always a very active person, so even though I'm saying to be active and to look after yourself, some things still fall off, you know, so that you have to be so mindful of what is happening to them. You have to listen to them. You cannot be, sometimes you have to agree to disagree, because you have to hear. You know, I have my 10 absolutes here, you know, you don't argue, you agree. You don't reason, you divert. You don't shame them, you distract. You don't lecture to them, but you reassure them. You don't say, remember this, but you sort of reminisce and give a story, because they go back into the story time. You don't say, I told you. Instead, you repeat what you said. Use a word that would bring some sort of familiarity to them, and they will give you a story. And they have a lot of stories to tell, a lot of stories to tell.
It's so true. Sometimes you get stories and like, but I never heard about this.
Never heard about it.
It's amazing to hear, you know, the conversations that go on. So you've spoken to us about the importance, of course, of having a positive outlook. And I love the fact that you mentioned active, because with everybody that I know who has now or is living with it or had lived with it, they were so active before. And all of a sudden things just completely changed. It was slow, but then it was like that. So we've spoken about before, but what about getting into diagnosing? Because, you know, sometimes people might be a bit impatient.
Well, the first thing
Go ahead.
The person who's living with Alzheimer's doesn't want to get diagnosed.
Oh gosh, no.
My father said to me, my father said to us, he said, who told you that I have are you a medical person? So he was very proper. And you know, he didn't. But eventually we had to. And he was compliant. Okay, we took him, we just said, well, you're going to the doctor to get a checkup. And what would happen is that you see the signs, for example, like memory loss, difficulty performing tasks and so on. And if you're the caregiver, you need to take the initiative and find a way. Now, if you have a family practitioner who will visit the home, that's even better. but you find a way to get the person to go to get, and the tests are performed and so on, and all of that. And I want to say, even picking up from the theme for the month, post-diagnosis. If you find that you are living with it, if you have been diagnosed, I want to say to the listening public, the viewing public, try your best not to get worked up and upset and angry.
Yeah.
Or if you do it, minimize it. You know, come to terms with it. Okay, this is what is. But consider yourself fortunate that you are still in the stage where you can still do things for yourself.
Yes.
You want to, and one of the first things that comes up is the legal aspect of your living, and especially if you are living alone, you need to have somebody, a good friend or somebody you can confide in, so who can check on you every day. Get the legal things done. Consider yourself fortunate that I am still at that stage where I can do things for myself. Because after you move into the other stages, it becomes a little more difficult.
Yes.
So the post-diagnosis, don't fear it. I think in this regard, I think of people who are living with cancer.
Right.
And how many I know, they accept it and they move on.
They move on.
That's the thing you want to do. And if you are still, you're well and you know, otherwise, it's just that you start forgetting, and then you get to the stage where you can't do little things, or you can't remember, or your language may change a little bit, but you need to maintain that level of, it's not so much confidence, but that at least I know, so I can do something about it.
It's so important.
Yes. But, you know, but the support person must also be aware of what's happening, so that they can give an informed decision on a lot of things that are happening. Because remember, you're not going to be fighting this person. Eh?
No,
you have to work along with the person for them to understand what is happening, because it's a learning experience for you too, the caregiver. It's a learning, because you know this person for so many years, and then this person can no longer operate within that realm. You had this respect for this person, you had love and things. So the love now is it's so different. It's a more understanding, compassionate. You have to have the time, you have to have the energy to put out there, because they can be a fighter.
Right.
Or they can be like how my mom was. She was very gentle. There were little fights. Now I had an easy time with her, but I also had some tough times where I had to, you know, to really be strong, to deal with who this person has now become, or who this person is now becoming. And see, as a support person, you have to work along, just with what Michele was just saying. You also have to work along with them and be patient. You have to be patient. If you don't have that level of patience, it could hit you for six.
Yes.
Because you too sometimes, as a caregiver, have to step back, take a breather, and move forward. But you could only do that if you get good support, good family support, good friends support. A friend calling you ever so often, how are you going? All right, because you want to hear another voice other than the person that you're working with. Because sometimes you, like COVID, I was there with mom 24/7, all the time. My daughter, my son could not have come to visit as it was before. Mom knew nothing about COVID, so she was just seeing me. I needed to see someone sometimes. I needed to hear another voice. So I had that support, and I thank them for all the support I've had. But there are some people who do not have it, and it could be very, 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 very tiring and frustrating if the support does not come, especially from family. Especially from family.
But I'm listening to Carol here, and it's not that we want to sugarcoat things when Carol says you have to have the time and you have to. Many people don't have the time.
Agreed.
And this is where, as an association, we are seeking to get the government involved. Because, for example, we want programs, and we want places, and we want understanding for people who have to, because what you have today is the sandwich generation. people who are looking after their elderly parents or loved ones, and they're also looking after their children, and they work. What happens then when they have to go to the workforce, when they have no time or the time is limited? So it's not that we are sugarcoating things, but as Carol said as well, it's not a one-man show. No. It's difficult. No, it's difficult. You need that support. So you get that support, and then you decide, okay, this is what is going to happen. And with the government being involved, we can maybe do much more than we are doing now for people who are caregivers, because it's the caregiver, you know.
Yes.
The caregiver. The caregiver must also understand that, listen, this is a person with childlike behaviors now, but they must still be afforded the respect.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
they must not be treated as a child. And if it's somebody, especially a loved one, once a man, twice a child, Shakespeare said.
Yes.
So this is the time now where they looked after you. Now it's your turn to look after them. And humor. Humor is a big thing with us, because before I joined the organization, I didn't know about it. And so we kind of winged it with my father. Yeah. And we would joke around with him. We'd say, okay, so Dad, so are you going to work today? What you do? And he would look at you and say, what nonsense are you talking? When was the last time did you see me? You know, and he would do things like that.
But you know what Mom used to do a lot for her? She was very much involved in the credit union. Oh. And many an afternoon, what is today? And you would say, oh, I have a meeting this afternoon. So they don't lose everything all at once. They still have their routine, the things they used to do. Mom loved going to the market. She loved to cook. And when those things started going away from her, you could see the frustration. But you bring her back in to do something and to, okay, help here. Mind you, she may be helping and making more mess than anything else. But for her, she was helping.
Definitely. Now, Carol, I know you said that you did have, if it was 10 ways to assist with those who are living with dementia. So we have a few moments left, and I would love to be able to hopefully share those with you, because we do have a lot of viewers who are living in this scenario every single day, and then hopefully we can get some more information about the association.
All right, there are 10 ways here. You stay in touch and show that you care. Call, visit, what have you. This is for the friends and family. You keep yourself informed about dementia as the caregiver, even as family, you keep yourself informed. You treat the person with respect and dignity, as Michele mentioned. You do little things in terms of making them feel a part of the meal, of tidying up, folding clothes, what have you. You offer specific help in that you give them a particular task to do, but you still have to do some guidance. You organize an outing for them, because a lot of them, you still have to give them a level of social living, social life. Music, playing the games, painting, such as that. Be a good listener. They have a lot of stories to tell. Be a good listener. And you fill in and ask them about their career, the things that they do, so you make them feel a part of, so they will remember. Make sure that they are also healthy. You make sure you give them healthy meals and things, and you find out counseling for them as well as counseling for you as the caregiver. How best can I help them? How best can I help myself? Because you are part of that equation. If you do not put yourself in it as a caregiver, and you figure, I'm just taking care of the person, no, you're not really doing justice to the person. You're not even doing justice to yourself, because there's so much we can learn from these people, so much. I spent the last 10 years of her life with her, and I got to know in such a beautiful way that grieving is not as hard as I thought it would have been. And music, oh gosh, they loved music. They love music. They love to dance. And so you give them the things that will give them that smile, and you will see them, you'll see life in them when you give them the things that they like. So those are some of the things that you could help, family could help, but main thing, give a call.
The resounding theme is really joy. I'll say joy and self-awareness and patience.
Yes. And I just want to give just a few remaining minutes here. Moving along from the theme, post-diagnosis. I have a list of 10.
Okay.
Another
that that you can do post-diagnosis. And first one is to learn about the disease.
Right.
As caregiver and as the person living with the disease. Get regular medical care. then you want to find local services that would help you. And here I'm pulling a plug for AZAT, Alzheimer's Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Please get involved. Call us. Our number quickly is 345-6549. 345-6549. Or you can email us at alztrinbago@gmail.com. Okay, and then next is to do some legal, financial, and long-term care planning. Get help as needed with day-to-day tasks. You also want to be safe at home. So if you have a caregiver, the caregiver needs to be aware of that as well. Stay safe on the road. We know about people who are walking away. The TTPS will do that, you know. You need to keep a check, and this is where having that one person to check in on you is so important. Consider participating in a clinical trial. Well, this is a list that comes from the Center of Disease Control. Okay. And so we don't have trials here, but of course, you know, if you're overseas and so on. Stay healthy. Carol talked about walking and, you know, go take the person out for a little walk. And if you live alone, you identify someone who is going to.
You know, you mentioned something that, again, we've all experienced, talking about those who decide to take a walk and sometimes forget where they live or where they were going. And it can be so frustrating if you are a family member, a caregiver, and you mentioned the TTPS. So hoping that we've also seen TTPS involvement as well. I know you mentioned, of course, looking at working together with the government, moving forward to raise awareness, and the TTPS also being aware of how to deal with these situations.
And I must say for TTPS, they do treat very kindly with the persons who may wander. They do treat very kindly. And that's the heartening thing, because even as I think about it now, I get goose pimples. My dad never walked away, but I could understand the fear and the frustration when your loved one is gone and you don't know, and you might be at work.
Yes.
You know, and it's a terrifying thing. It is. A terrifying thing.
My mom walked away a couple of times.
Yeah.
And what was that like for you?
Terrifying, because we were there in the house. My son and I, we were there. And it just, where is mommy? And we looked, she closed the gate in such a way that you didn't know that she went out. So by the time we started calling, and we started looking, she was on the main road heading for one near where she used to live was near one Woodbrook places. So she was heading down the road. Luckily for her, in St. James there where she lived, where are you going? And they stopped and they started to question her. And then I came up.
Thank goodness.
But for those 10, it seemed like a half an hour.
It seems like a lifetime. Ladies, I wish we had more time because there is so much to discuss. But for those of you who are interested, of course, get in contact with the Alzheimer's Association of Trinidad and Tobago, alz@gmail.com, correct?
ALZ-Trinbago.
ALZ-Trinbago@gmail.com. And you can also contact them at 345-4569. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I feel like we've just skimmed this, and there's so much more to discuss. But Michelle, Carol, we appreciate you, and I know that you will be back with us again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much. And happy Alzheimer's Month, everyone.
Yes, definitely. Trinidad and Tobago, a really important conversation. If you need the numbers, message us and we're going to send them to you. This is the Now Morning Show. It's Tobago Thursdays. Stay tuned. There's more coming up after the break.